This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here at Globe Bistro on the Danforth with Toronto restaurateur Ed Ho. How are you today, sir?
I'm really well, thank you.
Now, you have 3 establishments all across Toronto in very disparate neighbourhoods, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you don't originally come from a restaurant background. How did you find yourself in the restaurant world?
How long do you have? Oh, seriously, because I can give you a 2-minute version, I can give you a 10-minute version.
Probably the 2-minute, but probably the 1-minute version.
The 1-minute version. I was always a server all my life until I had to get a real job that everyone's parents expect them to get. I never went to school for what I wanted to do. I never went to my second degree for what I wanted to do. I ended up in the securities business, and as I was working through a career as money management, everything that I did for fun was either food related or wine related, or I'd taken cheese courses and wine courses, and I realized all my passion was going towards trying to better myself in these fun things, and I enjoyed it a lot more than my work that I was doing on Bay Street, as interesting as it is. So I had an opportunity, and my wife was able to agree to let me pursue a restaurant dream, and a lot of people that I've met in the industry even say, I've always wanted to open a restaurant, and very few people ever get the chance to do it, and I got a chance to do that. So I left my job in 2004, and we opened Globe in 2006.
What was the original philosophy behind Globe Bistro?
Globe Bistro, it was interesting because at the time there weren't very many local food restaurants going on. Like Jamie Kennedy clearly was a pioneer, and Michael Statlander, but in town there were probably a handful at most, and it wasn't really current. So the genesis was, if you had to do it from scratch, what would you want to do? And I guess through the mentoring of some very good friends, I got onto the local food movement, which, in retrospect, I think I've always supported subliminally, and now I'm, totally full-fledged as far as food and wine goes. So it was I would say an education. It's been a pretty steep curve, but now that I'm riding the curve, I'm pretty happy where I am. So
you really are a Toronto restaurateur. You have 3 different locations in 3 disparate neighbourhoods, one in Bloor West Village, one in the Danforth, and also a location in Rosedale. How do you keep a brand, a correlation between the 3 different menus, the 3 different establishments, but at the same time keep an individual personality for each restaurant?
I think first of all, I guess the whole plan was to never open downtown, but to choose a great neighbourhood and to establish ourselves in the neighbourhood for the people in the neighbourhood. So I would say more than half the people that come to the restaurants at any time are definitely from the neighbourhood. And Riverdale is a great neighbourhood, Bloor West is a great neighbourhood, Rosedale is a great neighbourhood. Probably Riverdale and Bloor West are more similar. They're younger families or young professionals that have a reasonable amount of income they can spend on dining out. Certainly in Rosedale, there's an awful lot more frequency of dining out, and I would say the per capita income is even higher. But that said, the brand is, we do local food, we cook local cuisine, we source locally and do seasonal menus. So that is consistent across all the platforms. The 2 Earth restaurants have identical menus, but they work differently, I would say, in each of the neighborhoods. I would say the simplicity of the menu appeals to the people in Rosedale, whereas the people in the Bloor West area actually really engage more in the localness and the sustainability and the seasonal menus, that knowing the farmers and more of the story, as opposed to just coming out for a nice dinner. And the same thing at Globe. Globe is the finer dining option relative to those 2 brands, the Earth brand, but certainly this is more of a destination restaurant, but still we do have a really good neighborhood following because we have a rooftop patio and the wine bar that people can just come in and grab a bite if they want, or can come in for a full experience in the dining room. So it does work together. It's always a challenge though.
Now, speaking about wine, you've always been a great wine lover. How much do you embrace the whole concept of local wine?
Very much so. We have just recently, and I don't know why we didn't do it sooner, other than I think it was more challenging 3 years ago than it was this year, to go fully local on our wines by the glass. And as we're moving forward now, in the last 6 months, we've been moving from having a big global list and a big Ontario list to a lesser global list and more of an Ontario list. So certainly more than half the wines, and we're aiming to be about 80% Ontario wines. with all of our by the glass fully Ontario. So I love Ontario winemakers. I think in the 6 years that we've even been running a restaurant on the globe, the quality of wines at the high end and especially at the low end, sort of entry level quality, it's $15 bottles, have really come up the curve a lot. And the amount of passion and the amount of investment in technology and the amount of knowledge and the age of the vines has all really contributed to a really vibrant wine business in Ontario. And I think it's definitely something we grasp, and we're trying to. We still have to educate people into grasping it. And some people are a little bit closed-minded.
I was about to say, how have your clientele at 3 different locations embraced this change in your wine program?
It's challenging for some people. I would say most people are open to suggestion. Most people are willing to take our at least our guidance and say, well, let's try these wines. Why don't you the proof is in the pudding. So have a sample of this, have a sample of this. Do you like it? Do you like these? And I would say probably less than 5% would say there's no way I'm having a Canadian wine, but the rest of those people. So, but it is an education process. I think blind tasting is a fantastic way to get through to people. Try to fool them into saying, here, what do you think of this Pinot Noir? So it's delicious. Is it Burgundy? No, it's actually from Niagara. It's from Prince Edward County. And we have to trick them sometimes, but I think that's part of the fun, part of the education process.
Well, Ed, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. We enjoy all 3 of your restaurants and enjoy all of their differing personalities.
Thanks very much.
Take care.